Um, Good evening, everybody. My name's Stuart Buchanan, and thank you very much for all coming along this evening. I think it's fair to say that in the past wee while, the internet has become fairly kind of ubiquitous in everything we do, and while the past 2 years has really taught us the fact that it can be incredible, there are huge educational benefits, there's huge social benefits, not least the fact that it's enabled us to kind of meet this evening and learn a bit more. But it's also maybe shone a light on the fact that there are some potential risks and potential hazards that we do want to make sure we're educating ourselves about. So I want to say thank you in advance to Avril Ronan from Trend Micro, who is going to be delivering the webinar on internet safety today. We held one of these during May of last year. It was incredibly successful and a really good opportunity, and something we were really keen to replicate this year as well. I'm going to say very little, as obviously Avril is the expert, but please do enjoy the session and contribute to the chat and ask any questions that you'd like to have covered. Over to you, Avril. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Stuart, for inviting me back this year. I have to say, Scotland, I have a very special place in my heart for Scotland. I worked with the Police Scotland for, we still do support them, and I've travelled all around the country with them doing the internet safety programme for kids. So a lot of great work, a lot of great memories, and I have family living in Scotland too. So Stuart mentioned I work for Trend Micro and that I am an expert when it comes to cybersecurity, cyber safety. I would say first and foremost, I'm a parent, and I'm certainly not an expert when it comes to parenting. And I do make a lot of mistakes and I learn from them, and I am definitely growing up with my kids online. And for those of you who've may never heard of Trend Micro is over 32 years old now, cybersecurity leader in industry, global company, and over 7,000 employees. And we're very, very passionate, as you can imagine, if you're an expert in cybersecurity, very passionate about making sure that the information that we have is given to people in community everywhere, all around the world. So my job is to train employees around the world to do exactly what I'm doing tonight. And we do it with sign language. And we love that about, we don't love anything about COVID, but COVID has allowed us to deliver on platforms such as Zoom and have sign language interpreters with us and other languages in real time interpreting while, say, I speak, they'd be interpreting another language. So it's wonderful. And thank you for being with me tonight. It's going to be 1 hour long, and I have a lot to cover, and I have slides to share with you. And if I'm going to ask you questions at the start that I will answer through, and but if there's particular questions you'd like me to focus on, please send them into the chat or the Q&A. Actually, send them to the Q&A, because if there's a lot of people chatting in the chat facility, then I may miss the question. The chat facility is open. You can actually say something anonymous and talk to others. You know, this is a trusted environment amongst parents within the School of Merchiston. So if you would like to speak to each other or talk to me and mention comments or what works for you or whatever as I'm speaking, please do, and share with everybody else, because it does take a village to raise a child, and you know, it's certainly the way it goes when it comes to the internet. This session is being recorded for those that can't make it tonight, and we've all made it tonight, but you know as well as I do, there are nights when we don't get to attend things, and the recording will be shared by Stuart later and through the website, the school website, so that you can watch that back, which is another fabulous thing, that you didn't make it, but that's okay because it's still available to watch back. So that's it. I'm going to start sharing my slides now. My two kids, by the way, are 11. She's 11 and he's 15. And he doesn't want a phone, 15-year-old, and she's been wanting a phone since she was 6. So I'm sure something like that sounds familiar in your home too. But the Internet Safety for Kids and Families program is something that we want to make sure, with the goal of, for example, tonight's program, that you won't know all the answers at the end of this, but you will certainly know what to do when something happens, whatever it is, when it comes to the challenges you face online with your family. And my goal is to provide you with information and a key structure as to what are the important things to remember? So I'm going to share my slides. Hopefully you can see those. Okay, so the first question I want to ask you tonight, and please do say it in the chat. How old are your kids roughly? Just to give me an idea, there may be different ages, but just roughly how old are they? If you want to just go into the chat facility. Okay, so we have a lot of different age ranges, teens, 13 to 18, 11, 9, and 2. So you speak almost a different language to those different age, you know, the 2-year-old, a 9-year-old, 17-year-old. Okay, that's good to know. 14, 18, 20. Okay. Okay, thank you for that, because that gives me a good idea of, you know, how to gear towards this as well. And the other question that I have is, what are you most interested to learn during this hour? So that, you know, just put it into the chat so that, oops, excuse me, so that if there is anything in particular you want me to cover, I'll make sure that I cover that in more detail. A lot of parents say, I don't know what I need to know. That's why I'm here. And some people have something specific that's worrying them or that they really want to share or ask. So, you know, just let me know. And you can remember, you can also send that anonymously. You can send it to just the host and panelists or to all attendees. So whatever you feel most comfortable with. So some of the questions we're getting in are how to ensure my kids' safety, recommendations for monitoring. I'm definitely going to cover that. How to keep my children safe, screen time, how to block unsuitable content, what to do if faced with any incident, and getting a balance between connectivity in a modern world and safety long term. Social media. So actually all of the things you've raised are all the things I'm going to cover. If there's anything else throughout the session, please just put it in the Q&A. And at the end of the hour, I will cover that at the end and stay on as long as I'm needed to answer those questions too. How to know what they're looking at, content, how to discuss it with my kids, how to understand how much time is being spent on social media by my kids. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to say to you is there is no piece of technology that will ever replace the role of a parent in your children's lives. That should give you a sigh of relief. The role and the relationship that you have with your child from the minute they're born, you know, our role is to nurture them and help them grow up and to be safe and responsible so that when we're not around, they'll make responsible decisions on their own, be they online or offline. How to block racist, sexual, violent abuse contents, how to get around VPNs, safety limits. Okay. So okay, perfect. Thank you. Keep the questions coming, please. They're great. Okay, so I'm going to start with some of my slides and I'm going to cover a lot of different things. And, you know, one of our attendees this evening has mentioned, you know, balancing it. How do you balance it? Because we all need the internet and COVID showed us that. And we use it for so many good benefits. Then sometimes we get stuck in it and find it hard to come away, and so do kids. It's human nature. Okay, so a lot has changed, especially in the last 2 years, and some things definitely did not. And what are they? Children still need guidance. The risks are still there, but so are the benefits, and that's where the balance comes in. And good digital citizenship, like a tongue twister, is still a priority. It's really important. Like I said, they make good decisions when you're not around. And if anything happens, they come to you and talk to you about things. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. So what is digital citizenship? It is what it is, isn't it? So there's 4 components, right? Safety and security. We want kids, as they grow up, to know about how to be safe online and how to be secure online, and what does security mean. We also want them to be able to use devices, use technology, so that they can, you know, get around it and understand how to use it for their own benefit and the benefit of others too, to help others, friends and family and so on. And media literacy, you know, With the amount of misinformation and disinformation out there, it's really important that we teach kids from a young age, how do you know that's true or not? We need to stop, pause here and think about things and ask some questions. Follow your gut. Ethics and community. So doing the right thing, whatever that may be. And maybe you could be doing things online to benefit yourself or indeed that of your local community and being ethical. That's really important part of digital citizenship. And the other is mastery, that because you're able to navigate the online world and be safe and secure and you're digitally literate, you know, that you can master it, that the internet can allow you to be successful. And from a young age, if we can nurture that sense with young people, it's a good place to start. Okay, so that's what it is. How do you break that down in a 1-hour presentation? So here's how we broken it down into 4 components. So we want to be online. Everybody has a right to be online. We want to be safe online and be kind online and be savvy. And they're the 4 elements of digital citizenship. The being online, I'm going to explore the environment with you, rules and examples. Safety, privacy, information, yourself and others and children. And being kind to yourself and to others. So there's a lot in there, really important stuff. But again, remember, the relationship with your child is the overriding factor here. And always technology and safety settings and security settings, technology is there to complement you as a parent or guardian in your role to help and support your child. It doesn't ever override it and never should. And savvy, we want kids to be able to be savvy and to understand it and to be, you know, clever and learn good things, good habits and good uses. So I'm going to start to setting up the environment in your home. And especially with kids, you see them, you know, it's really important that we explain to them your physical health is really important. Kids have tablets these days. And statistically in Ireland, for example, that's where I'm based in Ireland, in the south of Ireland. And statistically in Ireland from CyberSafe Kids, and it's pretty much, I'm sure, the same in the UK, over 90% of children between the ages of 8 and 12 own their own devices. And mid 80% have their own social network accounts. And those devices can be tablets. And with tablets, they can throw themselves on couches, on beanbags, on beds, you know, and it can be bad for their posture long term. So physical health is really important. How do you explain that to kids? You know, hey, you're looking a bit, you're going to get cramps and neck pain and, you know, long term if you keep doing that. So it's so important that if you're doing homework with your device, that you go to a quiet place, that you make sure of the 30-30 rule for obviously good lighting. But the 30-30-30 rule is every 30 minutes, you take a 30-second break away from your screen and look 30 meters into the distance, so out a window or go for a walk, a quick walk around and a stretch, just to move your body and relax and stretch out, which is really important. Seating, feet on the ground, especially doing homework, or maybe they prefer to stand doing their homework, that's okay too. Different kids, different needs, different things work for them. But that they're aware of their seating, their physical environment and their physical health, that's really, really important. And I work with disability services here as well, locally, and their advice is always, you know, moving that every 30 minutes to a different position. So maybe you go from seat to standing and you go, you know, so it's about just making sure that movement breaks are really important. Okay, so setting up the environment, you know, the network. If everyone's on the network and depending on how many kids are in your home and maybe you're using it for something else, limiting access to the router, it really depends on the quality of your Wi-Fi, I have to say. And that's you know, it depends. But if it's possible, have a look at your router at home and your Wi-Fi. If it's any way elaborate or, you know, have a look. And if you're not too sure what it is or what, go to your service provider. You more than likely have to set up an account online and go into your account and see what's available, because you've got normally 2 passwords. You might notice you have 2 different passwords. You might all just use the one, but you can actually separate the network into 2 different spaces, one for kids and one for you, one for the grown-ups. And that really helps if you're working from home too, for bandwidth, depending on your Wi-Fi, especially if you need it. So separating the network, like I said, is a really good idea. So they get their playtime on one Wi-Fi password area and you get it for the other for work or whatever it is you need to do. A Wi-Fi extender. I live in a house with walls that are 6 foot thick. It's my granny's house. So the the Wi-Fi is great in one room, but it doesn't travel well around the house. So I use a booster. It's called a Wi-Fi extender. If you go into your local device store and ask for a booster or a Wi-Fi extender, there is a wide variety of them to choose from. What is it? You plug it in. So I plug it. There's one here in my room. I plug it in because I'm working from home this evening. Plug it in into the socket, and basically the Wi-Fi runs along the electricity out through the booster. So when I connect from my device here, it connects to the booster here. So it's an extender. It's an extension of my Wi-Fi from the other room, and it really improves the quality of Wi-Fi. So if you're not familiar with that, take a look at it and have a look, do some research, or just go into the store and ask some questions to learn more about it, but they're great. Staggering use of time online. So if you're all suddenly, for one reason or another, which we were last year, definitely for sure, online and using Wi-Fi and you can feel the drag on the Wi-Fi and it's slow, then maybe there's staggering. Maybe the likes of Netflix and gaming or whatever can't be used for certain hours when there's important work to be done online or whatever. So that can be done. Just agree with them and explain why. And securing everything. So, any device that connects to the internet, and this is important with kids, anything you have, it doesn't matter. A mobile device, a tablet, anything that you have that connects to the internet, it's important to have security software to protect yourselves. Updating devices, when you get that software update request, it's really annoying and you really don't want to do it because you can't go on your device. It's really important because what it's saying to you is there's vulnerabilities out there. We want to install the patches or the fixes to protect your device from these new vulnerabilities. There's millions every day around the world. I can tell you that from Trend Micro, that we can see those and we're protecting customers all the time. So the update on your device, the software update, it's really important that you do those as soon as possible and explain that to your kids too. As soon as you start doing that download and that update, it's actually updating and providing more protection on your device to protect your device from malicious software and all sorts of things that you do not want on your device. Strong passwords, they have to be long, 13 digits at least, and different depending on what you're using. And Password Manager is an excellent tool. You can get some are free, you can pay for some. What does it do? It basically means, and I have probably over 60, 70 different accounts because of all the systems that I use. And then the personal stuff as well, from banking to insurance to all sorts. It's very difficult to remember all your passwords. A password manager is basically where you have one password. And then every time that you log into something, it'll pop up and say, would you like us to, will we mind save this one for you? And I say yes, and it'll save that password. So every time I go to that website, it'll log in for me. And it's fantastic. And it's encrypted and secure. So you don't have to worry about, there's one app, this password manager is all my passwords. It is secure, it's encrypted, and there's a lot of them out there. And it's a matter of doing some research online and you'll get the top 10 best password managers, like anything you look and shop for online. But it's one to look for if you're really struggling with keeping different passwords and you're using the same password on everything, which really, a cyber criminal will take 24 to 48 hours to hack into your account. If you're making it easy for them, they'll get in there quicker. If it's 13 digits long, it'll take way more than 48 hours, but you're putting up a good fight, and that's a fact. So 13 digits long, all sorts of different characters and special characters, capitals, space bars, whatever it is to use. Multi-factor authentication, the amount of kids that know what this is, I strongly recommend it for gaming, because in gaming, kids can be really targeted through gaming, their accounts being breached, their credits being stolen, and a lot more. Multi-factor authentication, we all actually know what it is. When you go to your bank online and you put in your password or whatever, you can't get in quickly. It will send you a code to your phone or your email, and you have to get that and put it into your account as well in order to get in. So two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication is basically making sure that it's really you that's logging into your account. So if somebody has guessed your password or got your password, they can't get in still, even if they've got that far, because they also need access to that verification code that's been sent as text or sent as email to you. And there's a lot of other, it's multi for a reason. You can have face recognition, voice recognition. There's loads of different ways to have different ways to authenticate who you really are that you can set up. So use that, especially for gaming with kids, and explain it to them. And VPN, and that was a question as well in the from one somebody who attended. A virtual private network is a way to, say, for example, you're using public Wi-Fi somewhere. It's really beneficial to have a VPN. You pay and you subscribe for this on an annual basis. It's the quickest, safest, the most direct route from your device to whatever you're trying to reach online. And it's secure, it's private, and it's protected. That's basically it, and that's what you're paying for. So it's something to look into. And again, like password managers, what one? I won't recommend one to you. Obviously, Trend Micro has VPN, but have a look online and just best VPN to use. What is VPN? Research, have a look, and do it with your kids too, and learn together what these things are, because they'll make your life easier and safer. So setting up the environment, good habits. So like I said, update regular, you know what it's for and why. Passwords, make it a phrase if you have to, just change it often and remember password manager. Backing up and storing safely. So for example, if your child's device got run over by the car or broken, spilt milk on it or whatever, does that mean that you can't access and everything that was saved there, that the kids' videos, photographs is gone? The way to avoid that is to make sure that you have a backup. And you can, again, go online and say, best backup solution for my device called XYZ, Android or iOS or whatever it is. And you'll get loads of solutions there. I pay $2.99 for my iOS cloud storage. And I've got about 15,000 photos on my phone, but they're not really there. I pull them down if I need to really access them. But it means that if anything happens to my device, I don't have to worry. And my kids have it too, because we've got the family settings set up. And I'll show you a little bit about that later. But it's a great way to make sure that everything that's precious on your device, you have a backup of. Okay, so tech tools. Depending on the devices that you have, you might have a mix of Android, Apple, and Microsoft in your home. You might be solely Android or one or the other. Let me know in the chat what devices you predominantly have in your home. It's interesting to see, isn't it? Some are one or the other or a mix. And it just depends on preference, really. They all work pretty much the same, offering the same services. And so there are tech tools that we need to be aware of. You don't have to buy anything, right? Everything in your device, there's a lot of safety settings and tools in your device to protect you already. So things that will help with, like some people on the call tonight, age-appropriate content. How do I know what they're looking at, and how can I protect them and make sure that they're not seeing things that I don't want them to see and access, or indeed people as well, that, to restrict that. In-app purchases, I definitely don't want them pulling down on my credit card and spending and downloading all the apps they want. I want to restrict that. Time online, I'd love to be able to restrict how much time they can be on their device. And I'd like to see what they're playing, what they're doing when they're online, what they spend their time doing. All of this is possible on your devices and on your kids' devices. They're all there. And I work with a lot of teens as well. And a lot of teens use these settings and screen time management tools to monitor their own activity, because they're busy with school and they don't want to get distracted, and they use a lot of features that help them manage their time online. And I'll talk about them again in a minute. Okay, so where do you find these things? So they're on all Android, iOS, and Microsoft devices, and they're on the router. They're on service providers, if you're buying a service from them. They're on security software. So if you buy antivirus software, there is also those type of tech tools there that you can avail of, depending on what you've bought. But remember, there's a lot of things that are free. Most of this is free on your device already. You just have to figure out where they are, and I'll show you how to. The app stores and the sites and apps themselves. So you can see there's TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat, very popular apps, social networks. And within those, so you can have the safety settings and time management on your device, but you can also, within the apps, have settings as well, that things can be set up in there as well. And I will show you those. Okay, so let me give you some examples of what I'm really talking about here. If you have an iOS, an Apple device, right? If you go into settings and go to screen time, you can actually, and you can set this up for your family. So I happen to have an iOS family where they have iPads, and my husband has an iPhone as well. So it's all iOS. So what we've done is I've set up the two kids with iCloud accounts. They're under 16, so I'm the guardian of them. So I've set them up as minors under me, and they are then connected to my screen time. It's very easy to follow how to set up screen time. And once you're there, these are the things on your phone that you can do. You can manage downtime. So for example, if my daughter is finished, her time is up on Minecraft or on TikTok, she might want more time to do something, then she'll have to come and ask me for it because her time is up. It's a time that we've agreed together, right? So the same with app limits. That's exactly what I did. Downtime is when, okay, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, device shuts down. You can't open any of the apps. They just gray out. You can't access them. So you can do all of these type of things. But what I would say to you is it's really important to talk to kids about this before you do it, right? Otherwise it won't go down well. Communication limits, who can they contact? Depending on their age, you know, if they're 6, if they're 9, if they're 13, there's going to be different rules. And that's why it's important at the different ages to decide who. So when my child was 7, she wanted to talk to her friends and I wasn't comfortable, I wasn't ready. So I said no. And sometimes, you know, that's a hard thing to say as a parent, especially when your kids, they may feel under pressure because their friends have it. But you know, this is your decision, your child, and we're the guardians of our kids, safeguarding, safekeeping them, and that's for us to decide. So I would say to you, you know, talking to your kids, but agreeing things together with them, who they can talk to, how long they can be on it, how long do they need. And it's fairly tough during the week anyway, because they've got homework, dinner, you know, they've probably got jobs around the house. They may have after school activities. There's not much time. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. So, you know, it's just a matter of maybe there's less time during the week and more time at weekends and things like that. But it's about that communication thing and talking to each other about it and setting rules together. You can always allow things like music. Their school apps for getting their homework done. They're always allowed. And different things, just depending on what they're interested in. And then privacy restrictions. This is really important. And there was a question in the chat there a while ago about how do I restrict that? You literally go in here and you in my phone, for example, when I go into screen time, my kids, you can see down there their names. You can see their names, and I go into that child's name, and then I go to content and privacy restrictions, and I can restrict to an age. I can restrict specific sites and block them. I can. There's loads of options in there, and you can also get weekly reports of what they were on, how long they were on it for, and over the duration of a week. And it's a great thing to sit down and look at together. Say, wow, you were on this. What were you doing? You must really love that. What is it you love about that? And it's a great way to show your interest, show what you really want, that you really want to know what they're doing. And when we work out with teens, the feedback they give us is, we'd love to talk to our parents about the stuff we're dealing with online, but we can't because they don't know what we're doing. They don't understand it. They don't have the apps. They don't use them themselves. So I would say to you, whatever you decide your child, your young person, your teen is using, and you allow them to use it, you use it too. Download it, see what it's all about. Maybe you download it first on your device with them and go to the settings and set it all up. And that's your first priority, certainly not theirs. But you do that together and you tell them what you need and why it's important. And then they show you what's cool about it and the fun, because that's what they wanted for after all. So it's like a marriage in the middle, isn't it? You're showing them and they're showing you. And what that means is that when they have something that's worrying them or bothering them, you know what it's about, so they may come talk to you about it. So encouraging always that open conversation where they feel that they can come to you, you won't overreact, you know, you'll bite your lip no matter what they say to you, because isn't it better that they come and talk to you than not tell you at all? And then figuring out, you might know how to help solve it, but the big thing here is that they're coming to you, they're telling you what's happening, and that's the most important thing, because the problems start when the talking stops. And that's the last thing as parents, it's our worst nightmare. So we want to keep that line of communication open, that level of trust, and build that relationship so they feel, aren't you better off knowing? You're better off knowing what is going on in their world than not knowing at all. Okay, so these are just some examples of clicking in what all the different things. It's so easy to use. And if you get stuck in it, just go into a search engine and say, how do I set up whatever on my iOS? Straight to Apple Family. Actually, if you just put into the search engine Apple Family, you go straight to the Apple Family webpage, and it's fantastic. It is so easy to follow if you get stuck on anything, and you learn more just by being on the page, I promise you. So Google Family Link, Android devices. So on the iOS device, this is for iOS to iOS, what I just showed you. Everyone has to have an iOS device. If, for example, you have an iOS device, but your kids have Android devices, you can download the Google Family Link to your device, and you have to have a Google account, and your kids have to have, obviously, with their device an account, and you set it up, and you're basically connecting your device to their device, and everything happens the exact same as what I've just shown you on the previous slide. You can look at the activities that they're on, you can filter apps, you can limit screen time, track their location, the same as the previous slide. It's really useful. And with the iOS, you can share music, you can do loads of things, but everything that's on the iOS, it's the same except through Google Family Link. So with Google Family Link, if you have an iOS, they have Android, you can download the Google Family. If you have Android and they have Android, same, Google Family Link. If they have iOS and you have Android, that's where a problem. There is actually no way to go from your device into theirs. Now, when I researched this, you can actually buy an app for your device that will connect to the Android. So be aware of that. You just have to search for family settings and family protection from iOS, from Android to iOS, and that will bring you up a whole load of solutions, but you'd have to pay for them at the moment. Hopefully iOS will come out with a solution for Android devices to enable that, just like Google Family Link. Google Family Link also has a YouTube supervised account. How many kids want to be YouTubers and they want a YouTube account? Can I please? Can I please? This is a happy compromise where parent feels this is a safe, restricted, controlled area where I can monitor comments. I can turn off comments. I can see comments before they come in. I can restrict what they're going to see on YouTube. I can do all of that. So I can choose that they can explore more, they can do most of YouTube, but not all adult content. So you have control of that. And child is happy too, young person, because they get a YouTube account, but it's more of a restricted, safe environment. So that's something really nice from YouTube. So YouTube supervised account, just put it into a search engine and you'll see all the information about it. TikTok, anybody, let me know. Let me have a look there now. Okay, so there's questions coming in. I have screen time on my child's device, but I've discovered they have a second device. How can I control this? So your child has a second device, you might let me know. And then devices, iPhones, iPads, Xbox, Chromebook. I'm getting there. Thank you for that. So Larry, you might just let me know about that, about the screen time. Okay, so TikTok, let me know. I mean, how many of your kids are on TikTok? Something really good that has come out of TikTok in the last year, more than a year, it was in the US first, took a while to travel over this side of the pond. It's called family pairing. So what is that? Say your young person is begging you for TikTok and you're not ready, you feel they're not ready. The minimum age for a young person to be on TikTok is 13. Like I said earlier, a lot of young people lie about their age, download the app, and they go onto this app. Now, if you have restrictions in place, like the previous slides on iOS and Android, they cannot download an app without you getting a request on your phone. Oh, they want to download this app, permission, yes, no. Great opportunity for conversation with your child. You want TikTok? Let's talk about it. I can't just approve this. You're only 10. I don't, this is why, these are the reasons, 13 is a reason, and whatever it is that you're concerned about and the reasons why, and then let them talk about why they want it and so on. And when you feel your child is ready, at some point, you're going to allow them for an app of a certain kind. If it happens to be TikTok, remember TikTok pairing. You download a TikTok app on your device and you set it up. Your child downloads the TikTok app on their device, and they get paired. And basically everything that they do, you can see on your device. It's like a mirror image. And it's a nice way to say, look, I'm okay with you getting it. I feel you're of age now. I feel like you're becoming really, really responsible. You've shown your responsibility in the past. Let's do this, but let's do this together. And this is what I want to do to start you off. And at some point I'll let go, but for the moment I'm worried for your safety. So I'm going to do the pairing, and you set up the pairing. And what is pairing? So like I said, it's a mirror image, and you can see all the activity. You can manage screen time within the TikTok app. You can restrict access to certain content and age appropriateness, and family pairing. I'm just going to go into that. The other good thing that I would really recommend is when you're setting up your child's account, make sure you've got the correct year of their birth, not necessarily their date of birth. I wouldn't be an advocate of that for privacy, but the year, because if they're under 16, between 13 and 16, TikTok does extra safety measures to protect young people online from being exposed, and they do not allow things like their videos to be downloaded and so on, or that they're visible for others to see and friend request. So there's value in making sure the year of their birth is there, and TikTok do go to an extra length for that. Okay, so family pairing, like I said, you set it up, you've got the parent and you've got the teen, and there's a QR code and you scan it between. It's very easy to use. When you get in there, you can set limits, like I said, exclude content, limit who can send messages, and you can maybe sit for an hour, agree it together, obviously. But it's a good way if you're starting to introduce it to your young person. Roblox, possibly for younger people, young kids, very, very popular. And I'm just going to play this to show you how the settings works and where do you go in Roblox. So this is a phone with the Roblox app open. Where do you go to settings to set it all up? Okay. You can see the three dots at the bottom. Go to settings, security, setting up the two-factor authentication. So they're setting up a PIN there, so that only you know the PIN, not your child. And then you go back up to privacy. Okay, who do I want my child to talk to? Friends only, nobody. You decide that with your child. In order to change it, you need the PIN. Your child can't do that. So these are really good things in Roblox that you can do. And do it together with them so that they understand. They're starting to learn the importance of this, so that when they are 18, 19, 20, and they are downloading apps, they know automatically, need to go to settings first, need to go and set up all these things for my privacy to protect myself and for my safety and security. Discord. Discord is a very popular app for gaming. Young people go onto Discord and they have private servers where they watch each other game. They don't necessarily have to game. They can watch their friends gaming. They can chat to each other. Gaming is such a special place for young people, girls and boys, to hang out. It's a social area for them to hang out and to talk. And now more than ever before. So, there are safety settings there that you can do just like this, and who can add you as a friend. You decide that together, and so on, blocking, and so on. So what I'm going to send Stuart after this webinar recording is a webinar recording that I did specifically on gaming and social networks, where I go specifically into Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok, and I show you blow by blow how to go into the settings, like a little tutorial on each of them. And for gaming, I explore, which are the games? Roblox, I think, what's the other one? Fortnite, how could I forget that one? And Call of Duty is one I show as well, just to show you the different ways. But once you see one or two of them, they all start to blur into the same, they look the same, okay? I promise you that. But just find the settings and go around and explore. And if there's something you just can't find, go and search it up, because you'll find the answers online. The internet is a place that can help you set up the safety settings for your kids and for yourself as well. Xbox Family Settings is a really cool app you can download onto your phone. And you can do a lot of restrictions there as well. Filter apps, limit screen time on the Xbox, approve spend, allocate spending, and approve friend requests too. There's a lot of stuff in there that you can do. And that's the family settings. If you literally go into the search and put in Xbox family settings, off you go. Step by step how to do it. And it's a real great way if your kids are on Xbox and you can do a lot of work with them and they want to do something exclusive, you get told first and they'll ask you for permission. Excuse me. So set the rules. All of those are examples of settings and where to go and what it can do, what all these devices in your, settings and tech tools in your devices, what they can do and how you do them. So now that you know all that, excuse me, dry throat. Now that you know all of those things, what you need to do is decide, okay, the devices, now depending on their age, a lot of the parents on this call, on this webinar have teens, but some are under 10. So maybe they have a device, but you have to decide what device or what device do I buy? Is it a family shared communal one? Do I need to put lockdown settings on that? Or do they each have their own device and set them up accordingly? And they have it for homework or whatever. When? So some kids, in Merchiston, maybe they all have devices to school for their homework and schoolwork, and they're actively engaging with it, which is wonderful, that they're using the internet and technology to complement learning and to aid learning, assisted technology, audio to text. There's so many good things out there, as well as the information. So when can they use it? And how long can they use it for? This is another thing that parents came up and asked, how long is, and this day, I'll talk about that in a minute about, what do you do about time and managing screen time. But I'll also send to Stuart after this, I've done an exclusive webinar on managing screen time. And it's an hour long with Q&A afterwards. And I'd recommend if you're really wanting more information on this to watch this, but I'm going to show you afterwards some key things to remember. But how long should my child be on that? And where am I going to allow my kids? If your kids are under the age of 12, you need to have them in your line of vision. If they're in your home, if they're in school or boarding school, then that's where the tools come in to say, listen, after a certain time, and you can restrict access on certain things, age appropriate stuff, and the time limit. So that's really important to bear that in mind as well. But where is really important, and if they're in your home, that you can keep them in your eye of vision, because you can have all the safety settings locked down in the world, but you know what, you still need to keep an eye, because just like malicious software and cyber attacks, they're trying every second of every day to penetrate and to breach systems and software. So you always need to be vigilant, especially with young children, and tell them that they know that that's why you're doing it. So they'll be just as vigilant as you to try and make sure they're not caught out. And then with whom? So who are you going to allow your child to play with, and from a young age? From a young age, I would say, well, I obviously, I suppose given the nature of my job, you can imagine how much my children love me, but it's like about talking to them about it. I wasn't comfortable with my daughter contacting her friends through gaming for about a year when she started first. I said, look, you're allowed to play with it on your own. We restricted it. We set up all the settings. And when I felt she was ready, and I talked to her friends' parents as well, and we agreed it between us, times they could play together and what they could play and who they could talk to. And then we talked about why it's so important to only play with people you know and trust online. And she used to come home with their usernames on her arm, because they're all different names in gaming and so on. And that's how she knew who her friends were, and they were able to connect. So these are really important rules that you set together with your child. So the how, or how long, the biggest question, isn't it? And the struggle is real for us all, because, that 15 more minutes, please, 15 more minutes, whether it's Netflix, gaming, social networks, or just don't want to go to bed. So we work with the Digital Wellness Lab, and they have evidence-based research and really great work done in this area. And what they suggest is to help a child learn about 24 hours and learn about the fact that actually the internet and your device is not to be used 24 hours a day, kids. It's part of your day, but it should not consume all of your day. Fill up, get them to draw a picture, or, I've got a really cool tool I'm going to show you, get them to write down what are all the things that they do in a day. Let's write them all down. So, okay, you sleep, you eat meals, you exercise, you have outdoor playtime, school, homework, reading. You write all those out together, and Then you've got relationship stuff, so time with family, with friends, whatever it is that's going on. But that all takes time in 24 hours. And there's suddenly not so much time left, is there? But there is time left over often. What do you do with that time? So it's about showing kids that 24 hours, how much stuff is going on in that 24 hours of busy, and with the time left over, to choose wisely what you're going to do and focus on quality time online, so that when they're online, they're learning new things, they're discovering new things. I know my own daughter, when she's playing games, she's researching how to do things and she's teaching herself and, improving her skills. And that's great. That's learning, it's researching, it's development, or it's hanging out with her friends and chatting to them too. That's okay too. They all need that. So within that time left over, well, what would you like to do? What are the important things? Maybe you look at, from the reports every week, well, you love playing all these things. Don't know, should you really be spending that much time on this though? Is that really valuable quality stuff? Why do you want it? Building that relationship again. Now, here's the cool tool I have to show you. Trend Micro last October launched the Cyber Academy for kids aged 7 to 10 years of age. And while this is only for 7 to 10 years of age, don't don't think it's just for 7 to 10-year-olds. Within it, there is a conversation guide that is really good. You can print it, and it's questions and answers as conversation to have with your kids. So it could be at mealtime, that you sit down at mealtime and bring up a topic or something you heard in the news, but things that you want to talk to them about. So you can use the conversation guide. But what is the Cyber Academy? The Cyber Academy has currently 8 episodes. And one of the episodes is called Take the Time Online Challenge. There's 4 things. It takes 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes with your child. You could do this tonight. It's free. It's on our website. You literally go to it. You watch a fun animated video. It's 2 to 3 minutes long on time online. Then you have the conversation guide where you ask them questions about the video they've been watching. And then the third thing is they have a Kahoot quiz on the page that they go in and they answer all these questions. It's a quiz. They love it. Kids love quizzes. And then the last thing is a printout sheet. It's like an activity sheet. Some are snakes and ladders, some are join the dots, some are word puzzles, but it's all about the topic. And in this case, it's about time online. The other episodes are about passwords, privacy, security. There's loads of them. But it's really engaging young people in that whole idea of, actually, here's the activity sheet for our time online, focusing on, well, what do you do when you come home? What are the things you have to do? And we always recommend an hour before bedtime, no devices, to help wind down the brain, get relaxed. The melatonin is coming out, the sleep hormones are coming, and relax in and get ready for sleep. A quality night of sleep. And a good night's quality sleep means that tomorrow they'll be able to concentrate. If they have anxieties, they'll be able to deal with them better. Lack of sleep exacerbates anxiety and so on, and their mood, and they won't be eating sweets and rubbishy stuff to get energy. So it's all a vicious cycle there. So this is showing them, getting them to think in a positive way about their use of time online. What did you do online and what was great about it? Benefits. And, device-free meal times. Keep the devices away from the table. Have conversations. When you do, it's not easy for family to gather at one time every day of the week. But when you do have mealtime together, whenever that is, get rid of the devices, have the conversation, and make it something that everyone loves kind of coming to chat about, and their day's stories, planning what's happening at the weekend or whatever it may be. So that's the website, trendmicro.com internet safety. If you just put in Trend Micro Internet Safety, you'll find the website. And there you'll see an ad for a Cyber Academy. There's loads of different episodes in there. You'll find the time online one. So it's a great way to help children from a young age start to learn how to self-regulate. And the more you do it with them, when they get older, they'll learn that for themselves. So setting the example, what rules do you have for yourself? Because the children, young people will do 1% of what you say, but they'll do 100% of what they see you doing. So, what you do and say, they will emulate. So how do you model behavior with tech for your kids? And setting the scene. Maybe there are changes you decide now tonight that you want to change, you're not happy about. I'm not going to sit down my device at the couch and we're watching a movie, or I'm going to keep it away from the device at the dinner table. Whatever it is, it's what works for you in your home. So that's being online. I'm going to talk briefly now about being safe online. And when we talk about being safe online, we have to talk about privacy. I talk to teenagers and I ask them, hands up, who cares about their privacy online? Nobody cares. Then I have this conversation with them. So please remember this and have the conversation with them. We do have programs for teens, and we're putting them online at the moment. But there are two things you can do to protect your privacy online. One, don't put anything online, and don't be online, which is probably not very realistic, okay? And the other is use privacy settings, because you never really know who's looking, who's watching, who's monitoring and following what you do. And that's really important for young people to be aware of. But when you ask them, do they care about privacy? Meh, whatever, no. But actually, they really do care about privacy when you do ask them. I'll show you why in a few minutes. So this is an example in Fortnite. You see the 3 bars, that's the safety settings in Fortnite. You go in here, you go to privacy, and you say, okay, I want this account to be private, because Fortnite defaults to public, where young people are exposed to everyone, everywhere. So you have to actually go in there and apply this privacy button. And okay, so when I ask young people, and I ask you, how much does it cost to download an app to use it, whether it be a game or a social network? Generally, how much does it cost? It's free. That's the general response that you get. But is it really free is the question you need to ask. And then you ask them, well, what is the first thing when you download an app? What do you have to do before you can start using the app? The first thing that you have to do is accept the terms and conditions. And what are those terms and conditions? How many young people, how many grown-ups read the terms and conditions before they accept? They want the app, they need to use it, accept. In a nutshell, what these terms and conditions say are, I, Avril, when I download and accept these terms, I own everything that I'm going to post, share, read, view, like, comment on. I own everything. It's my information. However, I am allowing this app, this organization who owns the app, to do whatever they want with that information. And they can do that whenever, wherever, forever. That's what I'm allowing. If you don't like that, don't accept the terms and conditions. And in a court of law, you may see there's a high profile case in the news at the moment, a true first world problem, might I add, a first world problem. But it just goes to show that even if you delete something online, it's never really deleted. In a court of law, and it says it in the terms and conditions, in a court of law, if an app is asked for information from a certain person, they have to submit it to the courts and to law enforcement. And that's really important. So even if Avril posted this today, and next week she commented, and then 2 weeks later she decided, I'm going to delete that. There's a track, there's a digital footprint, there's a record of all of that. This is what she posted. This is what she said. This photo, this video, and this is when she deleted it. It's the digital footprint. It's so important to talk to young people about that. It doesn't just disappear because you delete it. And we have to assume nothing is private. We want to use these apps. They are amazing apps. They enhance our lives. They stay in contact with people. They game, fun, entertainment, communication, shopping, getting the food into the house some days it's a blessing to have these things. But what we need to do is assume nothing is private, and we need to think anything that I do online, assume everyone can see it. Assume. And when you allow your kids that first app, that first social network, the first thing I would recommend you say to them is welcome to your public life, because people can take screenshots, they can take copies of it, and it can stay out there forever. And there's copies and multiple backup copies on the servers of that app and organization. So really important about privacy and protecting information. There's so many things out there, misinformation, links that you're like, you see headlines and you think, oh, you're drawn in straight away. You're probably being targeted with that ad in the first place because of what you've been searching for. And it pulls you in. It could be clickbait, where that website is getting money for every click, or it could be malicious software. It could be, you don't know what it is. So we have to be very, very careful. And that's where security software comes in as well, because that will mind your website, that will mind your device and protect and scan constantly for, if you go to a malicious site, it'll tell you, it won't let you go in. It keeps your device clean and malware free. So a word about the camera, and this is really important because, and we have a Cyber Academy episode on camera safety, and also one on privacy. Kids don't think about when they're posting. Their prefrontal cortex isn't developed till mid-20s. So posting and thinking about consequences is something that we have to really help them remember and learn. It's not something that comes naturally to them. And, you know, you never know who's looking, you never know who's watching. And, you know, yes, it can, you know, apps track your behavior for sales and advertising and ultimately making money, and to enhance your experience the next time you come back to the app. However, there are also other people online who lie about who they are, who want to infiltrate your group of friends, who want to get to know you, and they may have not so good intentions. And this is where it's so important, like I said earlier, to talk to kids about why it's so important to only accept friends you know in the real world. Really, really important. And to say exactly that, people lie about who they are, and they'll try and bring you off into you know, one-to-one chats on their own, and that's when you should be suspicious and follow your gut. And when we talk to young people, especially in their teenage years, they say, if you're being asked questions that are really, really strange and that a friend or something they wouldn't ask, you're already suspicious. You have to follow your gut and don't go there. And report, block, talk to somebody is really important. The other thing that we need to talk about is sexual coercion. And this is where a person online is targeting a young person because they want sexual images, sexual videos from them of sexual nature, or they want money from them, and they're going to blackmail them for that. Once they get one, they keep coming back for more. Even if they get money, they keep going back for more. And we need to be aware of this. And sadly and unfortunately, we still hear about this happening all over the world and in Scotland and in Ireland, about what happens when a young person, she likes me, you know, or he likes, I'll just send that one photo, I'll accept his friend request. And it could be anybody pretending to be that person, and off we go. And it can cause havoc and unwanted attention publicly in the community, kids having to move schools, cyberbullying. It can cause so much damage and self-esteem, confidence. The list is endless. So to avoid that, education is key, which is why we need to be aware of this. And talking to kids about this is so important from a young age. Accepting friends, safety settings. Remember, I said earlier, safety settings and tech tools, they're there to complement your role and your relationship with your child. And your relationship with your child, technology will never replace that. And this is the privacy challenge, the episode on the Cyber Academy. And also we have one on camera safety, which is fantastic. We had feedback from a 9-year-old who said, I didn't know I needed permission before I could take a photo and send it online. How are they supposed to know that? So, you know, these are working. They're easy to use, easy to follow. Please use them. Please share them with your local schools. Get the teachers doing them in class. They're self-directing. You just go to the website and they're there. 10, 15 minutes every week, 10 episodes. So that's safety. And then kindness. Just in relation to kindness, you know, we need to be kind to ourselves and we need to be kind to others. Everything starts with kindness. It's the right thing to do, kids, and it reflects on you. Everything you do online reflects on you. So who do you want to be seen online? How do you want to be seen online? Because whatever you put out there is what people will interpret about you, and they'll make decisions about who you are. So it's really important, and it establishes norms. So respecting others is really important from a young age, and that's where we as parents come in. Again, no pressure on us parents, you know. And privacy. Some parents, some families are very, very private. They don't like photos, they don't like sharing anything on social networks anywhere, and other families share everything, and that's there's no right and wrong, but it's about respecting privacy of others. And if your young person says, can I take a photograph of you? If you don't want, I won't, and I won't share it if you don't like, or can I share it? And getting approval and a permission. And what they're doing is that young person is going to ask your child the next time too. So you're setting norms. And it's about getting that, and talking to the parents of your kids as well. So family rules and values can be different, and age restrictions, language, all of that is really important, and to set and to be aware of and to respect. And time offline, and you know, when your child is offline, their friends have to respect that they're not going to respond straight away to whatever is coming up, the notifications or whatever. It's all about having that conversation. So talking to kids about kindness is really important, and respect as powers that we possess. When we use them, incredible things can happen. The power of kindness, and the best way we can show kindness is to emulate and show ourselves. And like I said, when kids see you doing kind things, they take that and interpret in their own way, and they do the same and pass it on. It should be inward too. So when you look at young people, young people sometimes, especially the older they get with their social networks, they feel that their social presence, their online presence is their reputation. And their reputation online is their life. And it's our job to remind them every day, as much as we can, that who they are online does not equal in any measure how many likes, how many, or their value, but it doesn't, how many likes, how many retweets, how many shares, how many love hearts. That doesn't represent who they are or their value. They are much greater than that. And that's where we come in to reinforce that, how much they're loved, how much, that communication with them, and how unique they are and talented with their own unique skills. So it's very important that young people acknowledge their own strengths, and that we say it to them too, to let them know what they are, and that they have a sense of control over that. And again, the kindness challenge is one that we have in Cyber Academy. So the final slides that I have is just being savvy, good habits, good uses. So, we want to be online, we want to be mastering the online world, digital citizenship. Who are you online? Have you ever put in your own name into a search engine? Have you ever put in your name and just seen what comes up? Bet you have a cyber twin somewhere in the world. But what information comes up about you? And if someone was to look you up online, what are they going to find about you? Ask your kids to look you up online and ask them what they think about you based on what they've seen. That really helps them kind of, okay, so, it gets them to pull things together. And you might, realize yourself that if you need to find out something about someone, you do your research, you find out a lot of information about people online. Very easy to do. And a young person meets another young person and they really like each other. The first thing they do when they go home is search them up and look who they are, what they're all about online. They make judgments on that then, whether they like them or not, whether they're impressed by them or not. So who are you online? And get your kids to look you up, look yourself up. And encouraging good habits. So this is a really important slide. We talk about all the risks and all the dangers and everything about the internet. And you'll only hear the bad stuff on media and the news, but there's so much good stuff going on. Kids can, research a cause that's important to them. They can learn so much. They can promote a cause that's important to them. They can raise money. They can showcase accomplishments. So if they enter contests, if they win contests, if they can share things that they've won, that they've created. It's a great way, the internet is a great way to do that. And, for their long-term, reputation, it's a wonderful thing to have from a young age. Research, like I said, and media literacy, and a media episode is coming soon for young people about how do you know what's real or not online. And learning new skills. So learning new skills, okay, so what does that mean? I can learn how to code online. I can teach myself. I can learn how to play guitar or improve. I can learn how to dance, art. Or how to draw certain things or make certain things, or I can improve my swimming technique, watching YouTube tutorials on swimming. I can improve my writing. I can create blogs, private blogs where I write my own stories and keep track of my own stories. I can make videos, edit videos. I can do loads of cool stuff online. The other thing that's really, really good to be aware of for everyone that's listening here, right, is massive online open courses. Everyone here could do a free online course online. They're from Harvard, MIT, from Allison. You can get yourself certified online in any course that you choose. You name it, it's there. And they're free. mooc.org, have a look. Allison.com, have a look. And what are they? The Khan Academy is another one, especially if you've got kids with learning difficulties, disabilities, ASD, they're struggling, maybe they're just struggling with fractions or whatever it is. Go into the Khan Academy, put in their age, whatever year they're in, and then pick the topic they're struggling with. You will get so many short little video tutorials, explainers on what is fractions or whatever it is. It's fantastic. So I can't recommend this enough, and especially for young teens as well, who are trying to figure out what course they want to do in college, if they want to go to college. These are great because they might decide after doing a short course over Easter or summer holidays, oh, that's not what I thought at all. I don't like that or really like that, but this is actually the area I want to go now. So it helps them narrow their scope as to where they want to go long term. So great research, and they get a cert out of it too, and it's free. So remember that. And cool apps for schools. Again, there's cool apps that you can use, complements the school curriculum to be aware of. And again, a Cyber Academy episode, healthy habits. This is something great that you can try at home or encourage your teachers to use in the school for 7 to 10-year-olds. But again, it's not just 7 to 10. You can take stuff from it and have the conversation with older teens as well, older people. So to conclude, for younger ones, when they come home and say, can I have Minecraft, whatever the flavor of the week is, learn with them, build rules together, change them often as they get older, and branch out carefully. Do your research and use the tech tools with them and show them together. Like I said earlier, I'm growing up with my kids online here too. And for the older ones, did you see what she posted? You might have heard your child saying something to someone else online or on the phone or whatever. Just next time maybe you're driving or they're going to bed at night, or that time when you check in on them. We all check in on our kids. Could be every week or two, or something's on your mind. We can be like FBI when we need to be with our kids if we're worried about them. So you know how to check in with them and just see if they're okay. And I heard you saying something about, is everything okay there? And just give them the opportunity to sometimes they don't want you to say anything. They just want you to listen. And that's okay too. You mightn't even know what to say. You might know how to deal with it, but you figure it out together. So ask and listen often. Discuss that free app thing, because when I told young people, the privacy, when I asked them about, do you care about your privacy? After I talked to them about apps and the terms and conditions and, accepting that, I asked them, and I ask this in all the sessions that I do with young people, hands up who really cares about their privacy. Everybody put their hand up. They really do care about their privacy. It's just a matter of finding that common ground to have the conversation so they understand what you're talking about really. And help them take breaks. Sometimes they find it hard to walk away from their device. So you know what they love outside of the device. It could be going to get a hot chocolate somewhere, walk the dog, go visit someone, go to the beach, whatever it is. Find that and take them away. And encourage good uses. So, my final slide, take an active role, make sure they have a place to turn. Don't confiscate devices. I would err the side of caution on this, because taking a device away as punishment, you might feel, well, that worked because it never happened again. Your young person might decide, I'm never going to tell them anything again because they're taking away my device. And that's not what you want. So just be careful about that one. And being prepared, we need to be prepared for whatever comes our way. But wouldn't you rather know than not know? That's my attitude. Sometimes you won't want to know, but it's better. You won't want to hear it. And kids make mistakes, and they will, because they're learning. They're young. We all do. We all still make mistakes. So knowing and accepting that now is the best way forward. And when something happens that you think, I can't believe this happened, they did this, use it as an opportunity to open up the conversation, understand why they did something, what's at the bottom of this, emotions, anger, upset, jealousy, whatever it is. Get to the bottom of it, talk it out with them, help them understand their emotions, and help them strengthen that resilience. Show them the choice and control that they have online. And like I said, their value isn't who they are online. There's much more than that, and loved so much. Engage other parents. This is so important. My daughter's one of her close best friends. We discussed mobile phones together, and I said, no way until she's 12, 13. I'm not ready. She feels she is, but I'm not ready. So it's really important to have that conversation with the parents of your friends' kids and agree rules together, so there's consistency. So not three of the friends have it, and it's easier on all parents if you agree rules like that. If a school agrees this with parents, that's even better, isn't it? And it's easier to manage with kids then when nobody has it or everyone gets it at a certain time. So, and showing them what kindness looks like. The Good News Network is one I follow for a good news story. How full is your bucket is a lovely book for small kids, and it really is talking about people that fill up your bucket, people who fill you with energy, joy, and love, and that good feel, and people who drain you, and helping kids from a young age identify what type of friends do that, and people that do that to me, what type of people are good for me and what people are not so good. So this is a lovely book for young people. That's the presentation, and when you hang up, you will be redirected to our feedback form, where you're asked questions about the webinar and what else you'd like to be covered. If you'd like any specific questions, I'm going to stay on after this, but just for the purposes of this webinar recording, and for those that want to leave, I just want you to know that as part of the feedback form, when it pops up on your screen, that I'd like to offer Trend Micro maximum security to anyone who puts in their email address. I'll delete it afterwards. I don't want your email address for any other reason than to get this to you and tell you you've won it. But I'll put you into a draw, and we'll raffle 5 maximum security. It's valid for 1 year for 5 devices. It's antivirus software. And there's password manager in there. There's loads of cool stuff. So if you're interested, put your email address in there somewhere, and we'll put you into the raffle, and we'll delete your email afterwards because we don't want it. We value your privacy. And the other thing is, I mentioned earlier, I'm going to send to Stuart the recordings of the webinar I did on gaming and social network and on managing screen time. They're 2 one-hour episodes recorded. They do have the Irish Sign Language in both of them. And they also, this website that you're going to is our website. So you'll see everything. Look up there, parents and teachers, the events, and kids. The Cyber Academy is in there. So you can contact me as well on the contact us. You'll get me. But that little icon there with the character in the black circle, that's accessibility. So if you've got kids that have ASD, ADD, visual impairments, audio impairments, if you click that, it's on the bottom left hand of the screen on this website, Trend Micro Internet Safety. You can filter all of those things to support you or your young person navigating the website, to make it easier if you have learning or disabilities, learning difficulties, to help you find it easier to navigate the website. And that's there for you as well. So I'm going to stop sharing the slides, and Stuart is back, and we've gone 10 minutes over from when we started. So my apologies about that. But there's so much to cover in 1 hour, and you can understand why I spent an hour alone on gaming and social networks in detail, and another hour on managing screen time. So they're worth a watch if you're interested, I promise. So is there, Stuart, I'm going to go through some questions. So if you'd like to say anything while I'm just looking at the questions here.
Yeah, no, I just want to say thank you very much again for an incredible presentation. Really kind of nicely pitched and really clear in terms of the main take-home messages with regards to internet safety. So thank you very much, and thank you again to everyone that's joined the online webinar this evening as well.
Yeah, thank you for joining. It's not easy to find time to join a webinar, any kind of webinar. So thank you everyone for joining. And it's hard to gauge your level of tech, and the kids are all different ages from 2 right up to 20. But I hope that everyone has taken different things from it. You won't learn everything in 1 hour, but hopefully where to go and what to do and what the important things are, the relationship with your child and tech tools and growing up together online. So for those of you who wish to just hang up now, please do. Thank you for joining. I'm going to continue on answering questions that came in. So is the Apple use a strong password offered when setting a password as secure as these paid password managers? So first of all, the password manager for me is because, imagine, I have over 60, 70 passwords. So like my brain is fried. Anyway, so passwords is poor Avril. So that's why I use Password Manager. It manages them for me. And they're long, complicated. I put any cyber criminal up to the challenge to try and hack into one of my accounts. And that's what I use Password Manager for. It's great to just take care. I just have one password. It manages all my passwords. And when I have a new password, I add it to the Password Manager. I would say if, that's, sorry, where the question was about is the Apple use a strong password that's offered. I think you can see what it is. If it's longer than 13 digits, if it's multiple characters, caps, small, symbols, numbers, and it's 13 at least, then you're onto a good thing, because that's what I've said a strong password should be. And usually with Apple or anything that offers you a random prepared password, it's a mix of all those, and that's what you need. But why Password Manager is useful is it remembers things for you. And, you know, some devices remember passwords for you too. That's the key. So, right, I hope that answered it for you. The other one, how can you monitor if your child is using a VPN to circumvent parental controls? Ooh, that's an interesting one. So VPNs, normally you subscribe and pay for them. So is your child, young person, paying for VPN, or have they downloaded a free trial VPN and are they using, it's a tricky one to navigate. My gut here on this one, this will come as no surprise to you, the person who asked this question, is that I'm going to go straight in and have the conversation with them. Hey, you know, I'm concerned. And if they're navigating, if you go into how to set up parental controls in YouTube, as you're typing, it'll say how to bypass parental controls in YouTube. Young people are smart. They want to outsmart you. And we have to applaud that, don't we? Because we want young people to be smart and savvy online, but we need them to be informed and educated about safety, security, and their privacy. So it's all about the conversation. So I would say, depending on their age, explaining the purpose of parental controls and talking to them about it and asking them about it. And, you know, a device is, it's not a right. They have to earn it. It's to be respected, as is the internet. It's a huge, scary place that we need to be protected, but we can use with huge benefits. So all of this has to come in conversation. Again, I would use this moment of adversity where you're very concerned, they're bypassing parental controls and you're really annoyed. Have the conversation with them. Your heart's broken from trying to keep them safe, and they keep, maybe if you figure it out, compliment them for doing it. Ask them how they did it. They're really smart. But get to the bottom root of this. Why have you got the parental controls set up in the first place? Explain it to them. Tell them why, and ask them why are they bypassing? What is it that they don't like? It's parental controls that they feel the need to bypass it. The chances are they are, if you feel that they are. So have the conversation with them, and you'll discover why they want to do it. And it mightn't be as bad as what you think. And maybe you just decide, well, why didn't we just talk about this? Well, I'll extend the time because I'm reasonable, I'm practical, I'm not going to overreact. Let's extend the time out. How much time is realistic? I mean, you can't be on it 24 hours a day. What's realistic? And renegotiate the rules. And if it is something of major concern that you've discovered where they've accessed content, maybe of a sexual nature, and you're worried, kids need to learn about things that they feel they're not comfortable. Ask an adult or someone they trust. No matter how much of a close relationship they have with you, they may still feel, I'm not happy to talk to you about this. It's too awkward and uncomfortable. So I prefer to research it online. Maybe it could be about that. It could be about sexuality. It could be about emotions, feelings, depression, mental health, self-esteem. Who knows? So it's important to be conscious of that. And it's finding out why they're using the VPN. You can always ask how and compliment them and say, very impressed there. I couldn't do it. I hope that answers your question. I don't know if this attendee is still on the webinar, but it's a really great question that was asked. And I tend to go the mother way. Head on up front, not angry. Are you on? Did you bypass? But just listen, we need to talk. I have a feeling, right? Not going to overreact, not taking your advice. Promise you'll never do that. We need to talk. I need to tell you why we've got the parental controls in place, why it's important, and you need to tell me why you feel the need to bypass it. Teach me, tell me. I'm a parent who needs to know. I'm desperate. So I hope that answered the question. If you're still on the call, I don't know if there's any other questions. If whoever is on the webinar right now is, I haven't answered your question, TikTok, worried about it and the constant scrolling and the algorithms behind it. Yeah, I can understand that. And depending on their age, And even not their age. I'm worried the amount, you're exhausted at the end of the day and you scroll. You're exhausted. You're just doing something mindless because you need to unwind. But is that quality time online? So I have parental control set up on my device. And after 15 minutes on Instagram, I get a message saying, you've reached the maximum time on Instagram for today, Avril. And if I want to bypass it, I have to put in my password. And that's a thought process I have to go through. So that's something you can do. You can teach young people to do. Teens are doing it already because they've got lots of study and pressure. They're using screen time to manage their time online, which is amazing. And when I ask, and they like 60% put up their hands, like, yeah, I use that all the time. I use do not disturb. I turn off my notifications. I use the screen time tool. I limit the time I'm on TikTok. The other 40% are like, what? You what? So it's an education thing if they're not doing it already. I promise you that. So it is worrying. I can understand that. So I think Alexander, there was a question asked on TikTok that, you're worried about it, screen time. Let me see, screen time on my device, child's device, but I've discovered they have a second device, or maybe you mean a second account on a particular app. Either way, it's worrying. And like I said earlier, use it as an opportunity to have a conversation. You might be wrong, but if you're right, allow them to come out and tell you about it. And put your stake in the ground. I'm not going across. I'm not going to overreact no matter what you ever say to me. I love you too much for that. My job is to take care of you. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what's happening. I don't want to be left behind here. My job is to keep you safe. So let's talk about this and let's change the rules if that's what we need to do. So they'll be like, she's being realistic. Check her out. So, it's a way to kind of use it as an opportunity to build relationship, build trust. And that's what you want. Whether it's something's happened online or something that's happened down the village or something that they're really just worried about, doesn't matter what it is. You need them. You want them to come to you, or at least to someone that they trust and that they're okay. I think that's it, Stuart. There was one about how to block sexual violence, abuse contents, but I've showed that through the different ways, different devices and apps and games. And again, those recordings that you're going to share out, way more detail on those too. So please share them out and listen. Next time you go for a walk with the dog, although if you want to look at the settings, you might have to stop and look. But or if this is going to sound very sad now, Stuart, but when I iron, I tend to multitask. So I set my device up and I'm watching something and I'm just getting the ironing done or cooking and I turn something on. So you get things done that way that are on a list that you really want to do. How to discuss with my kids was a question that came in. Sonia, if you're on the call, I hope I answered that question about just don't be afraid. The worst thing you can do is not have the conversation. And you might have heard me saying earlier, young people want to talk to their parents about the challenges they have online. They just feel they can't because parents aren't on it. They don't understand. If you are, you're meeting them halfway already. And if you are going to them to talk about it, this is how it goes. That's where you're on the right track. How to know what they're looking at. Again, contents, we've covered that. Social media, covered that. Getting a balance, covered that one, but there's a whole webinar on it. Really good stuff in there. What to do if I face an incident. Like I said, use it as an opportunity to have the conversation, build a relationship, actually turn a positive out of a bad thing. That's what I say. Screen time, blocking unsuitable content. I've showed you that in restrictions. And if you can't find it, go on to the search engine, type in the problem you have. I had to set up my auntie's Android device and certain things, could not use an Android device to save my life. Went on to search engine. How do I find this on an Android device? There you go. So the internet is everything you need. So that's it, Stuart. I'm just after scrolling there as I'm talking. And I'm sure people just want to hang up on me now at this stage. But maybe we'll leave the questions in the recording, will we?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, the questions were really good. And I hope people agreed with the answers. It's practical. There's no techie thing involved in that, is there?
No, not at all. I've certainly learned a huge amount from it as well.
Thanks, Stuart, and thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. And I love, this recording. The amount of people that watch the recording afterwards is phenomenal as well. And this is free. Everything we do in community is free. And all I ask is that, you pass it around, share it with people, and get as many people as you can to watch it, because that's my job. My objective is to try and reach as many people as possible. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.